YouTube channel. Now before I get started, I need you guys to go right now and subscribe, like, and also share. Now, like I promised y'all, I will be doing a story time for y'all. Tell y'all a little story about how I got my heart broken twice. Not one, but twice. Now while I'm talking to y'all and explaining to y'all the certain situation that occurred with me, I will be doing my sofrito because I actually ran out and I need some before I start cooking for my kids. Guys, so before I get into the story time, I'm gonna get everything situated so I can do my sofrito and get everything done. Now I gotta peel. One thing about when I make my sofrito is I hate peeling garlic. For some reason it makes me very teary, but it gets the flavor out to the sofrito as well. So yeah. Well, anyway, as y'all can see that the beginning of the video I did say that I got my heart broken twice. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, you know, that person that you thought you love and care for wind up hurting you. And I took it hard, I could say, but I learned from it. Now, well, I learned from both of the heartbreak, not the first one, but this one was actually, I was 26 at the time. Well, I actually was turning 26, and you know, I met this guy. I'm not gonna say no name, but I met him. At first everything was cool, you know, we was getting to know each other and we was talking here and there. And for me being so young and stuff, yeah, 26 is kind of young, but I'm thinking I have common sense of getting to know the person before you go any further. But that was my fault. I didn't got to know this person very good, and you know, everything was good from the beginning and stuff. You know, yeah, I was like around 26 when I first met my first boyfriend, actually. And you know, everything was going smoothly. We was getting along. It wasn't really nothing particular for me to have a red flag and, you know, worry about. So like we was together for, I could say, almost a year. We was together, and like on February I found out that I was pregnant. So I did eventually told him that I was pregnant and stuff, and he was okay with it. You know, he was cool at the beginning. He was fine, and he was there through the whole, you know, pregnancy and stuff like that when my son was born. Now there are certain things I'm not going to say because I don't want to put too much out there, but it was a certain situation that I went, you know, had dealt with him, and it was like I'm automatically red flag. But me being so young, I was like, you know what, let me be with this person and stuff like that to see, you know, he can change and all. But he thought wrong. So more further, fast forward, actually, I had, you know, had my son, and that was the best thing that could ever happen to me from this relationship, because I had my son and he was the most important thing to me. So during that time he was starting to work because I was on maternity leave, and he was working, and for some reason everything started to change from there. I have noticed him coming from work late, or when I call him he wouldn't pick up the phone or anything like that. So I was like, okay, maybe he probably working overtime, or is probably too busy, or where he's working probably don't have a signal. So my instinct was telling me, oh well, he probably, you know, cheating on me, and me being young and naive, I did not thought of it to see what was actually going on. So it was one time I was actually with my parents. I was living with my parents at this time, and he was there too, but he came out of work and he just had this nasty attitude. He didn't want to be around me or anything like that. But something happened from there, which I'm not going to speak on it, that got me so upset. And I had told him, you know, what's going on with you? You seem like, you know, you're distant, and you look like you're probably talking to another female. So he was like, always like, no, I wasn't talking to no female, anything like that. I'm just tired from work. But he had his phone next to him on the side of the bed, and next you know, it was like a text, but it was just a phone number, and he woke up fast and he went outside to use the phone. Another red flag. So when that happened, I got upset. I told him, okay, well, I feel like, you cheated on me and stuff like that. And then he was like, oh, well, this is not going to work and such. And my son was in a walker. He goes and get up and he just walk out. Now, mind you, I'm thinking that he's going to go get some fresh air and stuff like that. But he just had a little bit closed over my parents' house and nothing much because everything else was in his dad's house. So me not thinking that, okay, this is the last time I want to see this person, he just go and grab his stuff and he just leave. So I'm saying, okay, well, he probably going to get some fresh air or whatever like that. So it took a long time with the fresh air because this man actually did leave and stuff like that. So I was pretty upset, and it was like upset, but I was heartbroken. I was like, okay, how are you going to walk away? Knowing that, mind you, I was still young. I have a kid with him. So he goes on and he says, he calls me actually from the bus terminal. And I explained to him like what's going on. He wanted to take my son. I said, no, my son's not leaving out my premise because that's my child. So he didn't say nothing. He just hung up the phone. And then next thing you know, I go on to, it was like when he cut everything off, I go to like a couple of days forward. I go on the social media site and one of his family members was there on the social media, and I received a message. And it was my child's father. Well, let me rewind back. I forgot something. So when we was together before everything happened, he had proposed to me. I forgot to tell you that. He had proposed to me, and I had bought everything for the wedding and everything like that to get married. And then next thing you know, fast forward, when he had left, I had received a message from one of his family members. Well, it was actually a video message from his family member that my, child's father had gotten married with his first baby mom. Now, the whole time through this whole relationship, come to find out that he was cheated on me with her. It was actually back together and they had a child together. But I didn't know that until I had received that message and stuff like that. So I go, I was upset. I started crying. I was heartbroken, yeah, because that's my first love, my first, person that I had a child with and everything like that. So I was like very upset. I was very down, and thanks to my family, they was always there for me. I was heartbroken through the whole situation, and I felt very down. And I could say I had felt in depression because, mind you, I just had a child, and I didn't know anything about no postpartum or anything about depression or anything like that. So I had fell into a little depression and everything like that. So once days had went by, I started picking myself back up again and started to move forward and realized, okay, well, I'm going to be a single mother of my child, so I'm going to do what I have to do to support my kids. So I went back to work where I was working at. I was a manager at a produce store. So I went there and I started working, and I started taking care of, my son as a single mom. Now, mind you, nobody ain't going to be thinking that you're going to be a single mom at a young age, which I know it happens all the time, but I never thought I was going to be, a single mother, but, it happens, so it is what it is. So during that time, haven't heard from, my son's father or anything like that. Move fast forward. It was 3 years down the line. I got my own apartment, got my own place, working as a regular person, 9 to 5, and making sure that my son actually was good. So I came on 2009 actually. I was approximately about 29 years old. Mind you, I've been single for quite a while, and came in and met my second, actually ex-husband now. I met him, and like I said from the beginning, I don't know what it is with me, but I'm a sucker for love. I always fall too fast, too quick, and I learned that now, that I have to take my time to get to know the person before I jump into a relationship and stuff, because it's going to end up the way it ended up with me and my other child's father. So I met him, and again, I moved in too fast, and approximately, I think, a couple of months down the line, I had gotten pregnant with my daughter. So I was, in shock and stuff like that, because this person told me they couldn't have kids. But nowadays you can't believe anything like that. So, but anyway, so I find out I was pregnant. I was super excited. I was happy because, babies are a blessing. It's a blessing from God. I got pregnant with my daughter. I had told my ex-husband, and he was super excited because this actually was his first child. And mind you, he told me that he couldn't have no kids, but I had to believe him. So during a couple of months, I probably was like 6 months during the pregnancy, he proposed to me and decided for us to get married and stuff. So I was super excited about my stuff, got my hair done and everything. And around June, somewhere around there, we officially tied a knot. It was nothing a big fancy wedding or anything like that. It was just like a family. My parents was there, my sister, brother, my son, and his sister was there. So it was nothing very big or nothing like that. So we said our dues and stuff. So fast forward down the line, I end up having my precious, beautiful daughter. And she's my world, as well as my son and me with my other child that I had as well from this marriage. So I had her, everything was going good, everything was going fine. Yes, every relationship, and especially marriage, has their ups and downs. And during that process, I decided, like, okay, I'm gonna try to work things out, because he was doing things that was very sneaky, but I couldn't come to a conclusion of what he was actually doing. So me being paranoid because of what happened in my first relationship, I was like, okay, well, maybe he's not really doing nothing. It's really my mind playing games because of what happened to me with my first relationship. So fast forward down about, you could say, a year and a half, I found out I was pregnant with my second child. Like I said, it was a baby girl. Blessed to have her as well as my baby as well. And he found out, and he was super excited about that as well. Now, during the process of me being having the baby, my last one, is a certain situation that occurred, and I'm not trying to get too much involved with that situation, but that's when everything had went left field. So during that time, I came home at the hospital. Everything was good, everything was fine. So around approximately 2013, when my daughter, the youngest one, was actually a year old, I started seeing him being a little distance from me, always trying to make up, come up with an argument for we can start arguing so he can go out, and he leaves. So right there, boom, like a light flicker in my head saying something gotta be going on more than that. So certain situation had went down, and my gut instinct was telling me, look into the computer and look up his name or what's going on. So I went to Facebook and I looked into the computer in Facebook, and I was trying to see, like, when there's men that are, I don't know, I'm not gonna say all men, some men kind of slow and they leave the evidence behind. Well, this was one of them. So I end up looking into the Facebook, and some female had popped up, and she made a banner with his nickname, which I know his nickname, and with her. So I was like, no, this can't be. So when we looked into it, I guess we seen a picture. Well, I seen a picture of him and her, and I was pretty upset. I had called my sister. I was like enraged because I gave you 2 kids, we married, and everything was going perfect. I was there for you through thick and thin, and you go out your way and you end up doing this. So I did confront him about the situation, and he's like, oh no, like some of these men does, no, that's not me, I never would do that to you, and stuff like that. So I was like, bet, I'm gonna take your word for it, but I have the evidence here. Me being dumb, because I would have had, you know, if it would have been another person or whoever, I don't know, probably would have ended up leaving. But like I said, I wanted the relationship to work out. So during that time, I had seen the individual and approached that person, and he approached that person, and I guess he's trying to deny the whole situation. Fast forward around 2013, I come to another picture that such person had sent, and stated that that person was having a child. But I was already furious, and that present time I had kicked him out the house. I told him, no, it's over and done with, you can move forward. So something was telling me to go Google search. When I went to Google search, I found the exact same picture of what that person sent me in the unborn child. Now that right there threw me off, because that person had lied about having a child. So then we try to work things out again. So how they said, first time it's a mistake, second time is your mistake, something like that down the line. If y'all know what I'm talking about, just leave a comment down below. But anyway, so when that happened, try to work things out again with him. And it came a particular time that I had a sister of mine that came down to spend time with me and the kids. And he said that he was gonna go out with his friends. I said, I don't mind them going out and hanging out with their friends and stuff like that, because that's what people actually do. I'm not gonna stop that person doing what they was doing before they met me. So then nighttime approached. Call his phone, he won't answer. Call him, he won't answer. I was looking out the window to see if I see him, he won't answer. So I was kind of worried, like, you know, something must be going on, or something must be happening, because he's not answering his phone. So yeah, me thinking that something had, you know, had happened to him and stuff like that, I was, you know, very worried. I kind of lost sleep, because, you know, you thought something was going on. So morning time had came, and when morning time had came, he comes in through the door. Now, what was that for? Like, you stay out all night, don't call your wife to have school with your kids, and thinking everything was going to be all nice and dandy. So by the time he came upstairs, I packed up all his stuff, and I placed it outside my place. Now, you could fool me all you want, but that's one thing. You gotta say one thing for you to mess it up. So he goes in thinking that he's gonna come and give me a kiss, push myself back, and I told him, so you know what, this ain't working out. I think it's time for you to go and live the life that you want to live. Apparently you don't want to be a husband. So when me finding out that him not coming to the house, I was saying something was going on. So daytime had approached, and something was telling me that he probably was out cheating and stuff like that. I don't know, I just get this gut feeling. So I called, you know, around to see if he was with family members and stuff like that, and no, he wasn't. So mind you, he had cheated me. He was talking, not cheated on me, sorry. I had found some evidence from the Facebook and stuff like that about this individual situation. So then he comes in the morning, and mind you, my sister came down to visit, and he comes in, you know, in the morning, and me already thinking like, okay, he's playing me out. I had his stuff packed up and standing by the door ready to go. Because obviously, why you want to be married to somebody that's not taking the vows very serious or wants to be in a marriage? So what I do, I pack up his stuff, and I just let him, you know, come and grab it. So he comes in and he sees his stuff there, and he tries to, you know, come in for a kiss. I push myself back. I say, nope, you're not going to come over here and try to give me a kiss knowing that you was out probably messing around with the same chick that lied, saying that she was having a child and all this kind of stuff, and thinking everything's going to be nice and dandy. So he gets up there, he grabs his stuff, and he leaves. He didn't have no remorse or anything like that. So down the line, I eventually started doing the papers for me to get my divorce. So mind you, I was with this man for quite a while, for a long time. So when that happened, after I decided to file for divorce, he was fighting for me not to get a divorce. And he was saying he was going to go to therapy and try to get help, which I don't mind all that, but I'm not going to be continuing to be in a relationship if you're not going to put all your effort in it and messing around with other females. You know, I'm more than that. I'm not trying to degrade myself to be in a relationship with a man that thinks it's okay to constantly cheat. That's not me. So after that, took me possibly from 2013 to 2020 after COVID, you know, had occurred and everything was getting shut down. Now, mind you, this man was fighting to not sign the divorce papers because he wanted to work me out. He did not want to divorce me and everything like that. But I'm not going to stick around with a man that don't know how to appreciate a woman. So on 2020 of February, he didn't show up to court, which I knew he wasn't going to show up due to the fact that he wanted to still be married. So he didn't show up to court or anything like that, and the judge didn't have no choice to annul the wedding, which means he gave me the right for me to have my divorce and also to get my last name back, because I was not going to carry that man's last name at all after all the stuff that I went through with this man. Now, being said that, I had learned a lot. I learned the hard way from after having a divorce and me being a single mom of 3 kids. I don't, you know, I love all 3 of my babies. They are my heart, they are my world, and I would do anything for them. I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, out of the bad relationship I had, I got blessed with 3 beautiful kids. And I'm not going to be here saying, oh, I, you know, denying the situation of, you know, what occurred. It happened. I was young. I was naive. You know, it takes a lot for people to learn from this mistake. And I learned from my mistakes, you could say. I learned it the hard way, and I'm continuing to learn. As we grow, we still continue to learn things and stuff. But mine was, you know, rushing into relationships too fast, and I'm getting to know the person very well. But, you know, if it wasn't for them, I could say I won't have my 3 babies actually. I won't have them. I am blessed to have them. I thank them for giving me my 3, you know, my kids, but I don't thank them for playing me out and not being a real man and staying. You know, I don't think this is going to work out. I think we should move on from it. Now, the people that came to me and told me that it wouldn't have worked out, we should, you know, part ways and stuff like that, it would have been a whole different scenario. I would have gained respect for them. But I don't respect a person that thinks it's okay to go behind your back after you show them so much love or was there for them and make sure they was good, as a woman would do to their husband or to their boyfriend. But at that time, I guess they wasn't thinking that way, that they decided, like, you know, I got her, let me get somebody on the side. But it didn't work because I wasn't going to be around a person that thinks it's okay to go cheat and come back home and want to lay your head down. I can't do that. Yes, in my marriage, yes, I did really want for it to work out. But it is what it is. God, you know, do things for you so you can wake up and see, like, hey, this is not the person for you. Just move forward with your life and raise the kids that you have, which I'm doing. I am with the help of my family that I love dearly. I don't know what I'd do without them. They have been a blessing, and I've been doing good with my 3 kids. Been a while since I was in a relationship, but I'm not going to try to rush into things. You know, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. You know, if the right one comes around, the right one will come around. But I would say this, if a person's out there that is young, like in their 20s, and they just want to jump into the relationship fast, take your time, because it's really not worth to jump into the relationship and end up getting hurt at the end, thinking that you did everything for them and giving, you know, having a child by them. A child's not gonna make them stop cheating. A child's not gonna make them stay with you. So if y'all still young, just live your best life, you know, and don't regret anything, but just slow it down and get to know that person before you really jump into the relationship and have a child. Yeah, so that was my story, how I got my heart broken twice, and how I moved on from it. Just finished doing, as you can see, my sofrito. I'm about to take some to my sister because, you know, she wanted some too and stuff. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. And like I said, leave a comment down below if you have any questions or what other type of videos you want me to do. But I hope each and every one of you have a blessed day. And life is always a lesson you will learn. Just learn from the lesson for it. And I'll see you next time.